This show is brought to you in association with HostGator, where web hosting is made easy and affordable. Check out our hosting plans over at hostgator.com. Hello and welcome to Gamers, Geeks and Media Freaks, the fortnightly show that brings you the latest news and reviews from the worlds of video games, movies, TV shows and technology. Welcome to episode 8. It's good to be back.
Yep.
We haven't really been gone anywhere, but I just thought I'd say that.
It's felt longer than it has.
It does, yeah. Obviously, the last time we were about, we had all the E3 coverage and all kinds of craziness going on. We've got quite a packed show for you today. Kind of a bit of a fallout from E3, which we'll cover in a second, video games and that.
Yep.
So thanks everybody for who watched our specials and that. Quick mention, we've got a Facebook page now. We decided rather than to house everything on the For All Networks page, because we like to post bits of news and things and blog about stuff, it would be good to have it in its own place. And because of like the show being the way it is and covering so many different topics, we figured we'll have our own Facebook page. So, just to save cluttering up the kind of For All Networks page. So you can see that at facebook.com/Gamers, Geeks and Media Freaks. We also have I do believe we've got a Twitter as well. I can't remember what it is at the moment, unfortunately. It's there somewhere. So, sorry about that. Anyway, let's get on with some video games. Okay, so the big story lately in video games, other than just E3 itself, has been the kind of U-turn that Microsoft have done on the Xbox One's DRM, which we reported about last time. No, you shouldn't. Shouldn't laugh. Fanboy. Girl. Anyway, no, basically speaking, everyone, the consumer, was not happy with some of the digital rights management stuff built into the Xbox One. The online having to be connected every 24 hours to authenticate. These are kind of, personally for me, I actually didn't think they were big of an issue. Like, it's kind of funny, the kind of small little thing you take away from the consumer, how pissed off they get. But hey, it is kind of an inconvenience to some people. We kind of live in this age where it's kind of like most people are online for a good percentage of their day, so really it shouldn't be an issue. But I guess like people aren't ready for it, not in the console space anyway, and obviously not being able to buy secondhand or sell games is a problem for people as well, or giving them away to friends and stuff. There was a system in place where you could give your game to a friend that's been on your friend list for at least the last 30 days. Yeah,
but then you can't get it back.
So that sucks. But yeah, so they basically did a complete 180 on the whole DRM thing and announced that we'll no longer need the 24-hour check-ins or you'll be able to trade games and stuff. So that's cool. I guess a big win for the consumer. Either way you look at it, I guess it makes Microsoft look kind of weak, but I think it's the best thing for them to have done, given the circumstances and the backlash.
It's not won the console.
No,
it's leveled the playing field.
It has a little. I mean, there's still people pissed about it, but I think at the end of the day, this isn't going to affect day one sales. Yeah. This is going to affect people getting the console at a later date. This is going to affect sales later on, and this is going to affect the bigger picture. So I think Microsoft have been ballsy, both sides of the card, really, kind of trying to implement something that they knew. I think they kind of knew people wouldn't be that happy about it, but it was in the developer's interest, and then to have to kind of go back on and say, oh, you know what, well, we were wrong, kind of thing. It takes guts, I guess. So anyway, on the Sony side of things,
to Sony, who so far have been gods in the eyes of the consumers.
Yeah, appears to be. Happen to have their own little hiccup during the week, which there hasn't actually been that much publicity about it, really, compared to the Microsoft stuff. Their latest update, which is the 4.45 firmware update, was bricking consoles. Basically, most people who updated to it basically found that their console shut down and all these issues and stuff.
We're the lucky ones.
Yeah, a lot of people knew about it in time and didn't update and stuff. I believe I posted it on my Facebook that not to update. Kind of sucks though. I mean, like they've been doing so well the last few weeks, and now this kind of it's not as big a fiasco as the PSN thing a few years back.
No,
but
it's not been bricking every console.
No, it's
certain specific things. But nobody's quite sure about what the factors were. It's like whether it's an upgraded hard drive or which model or which size or whatever. obviously a lot of people who have PlayStation Plus might have had auto updates turned on, so it might have done it without them knowing.
Yeah.
So they might have had no choice, and that was pretty bad. But
kind of sucks.
they
recalled the update, and obviously they'll put out a proper one eventually.
I think
as far as those people,
they've dated it as the 27th.
As far as for those people though that have
June.
their consoles bricked, I mean, I don't know what they can do about it, but I'm sure there'll be something. There'll be a replacement thing. They'll have to send their console. Or nothing. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get to the review for this week, for this episode. Sorry, not this week.
Luckily, we were still able to play.
Yeah. You guys have been playing The Last of Us. I have not. I don't have a PS3 and I don't own the game, so I haven't even had the chance to have a little go on it or anything. So
no.
we'll have to sort that out.
We'll have to remedy that definitely.
This is one of the games that I think it's. I'm a little jealous because like it's such a good looking game, and I know it's going to be good because from Naughty Dog, right? But at the end of the day, it's. It seems like the Sony exclusive stuff now. Like at the end of the PS3 generation is getting, it's where it wanted to be a long time ago.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's we're getting the really good stuff, and you know, obviously Beyond Two Souls coming out as well, and things like that. But so tell me about it. Tell the people at home about it.
First of all, if you own a PlayStation 3, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having this game. It is pretty much that good. It's probably, I would say, going to be the crowning achievement of this generation on the PlayStation. It is amazing. It controls well, it looks nice, the production values are through
the roof. The basic premise for anyone who doesn't really know.
Basic premise is it's a zombie game for all intents and purposes, but not quite. It's kind of different. It's kind of following the lines of The Walking Dead and all this. It's kind of surviving after the event that's happened. Basically, there's this fungus, which is an actual real world disease, the cordyceps, which that affects insects in real life. And in their story, it's kind of mutated to affect people. And what happened is the whole of society is broken down. The military is kind of create quarantine zones.
Yeah, sounds scarily realistic. Like it could actually happen.
I mean, like the beginning storyline to it is
as it's happening. You get like a sort of prologue thing, which is as the outbreak happens. Without any spoilers, the whole thing is quite heart wrenching. I think it's the way cause all the actors have mocapped it as per Naughty Dog standards. The acting is so good, you get so involved, and I have to admit it did bring a tear to my eye, and that's fairly normal. I mean, I cry at everything, but
that's out there.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
About your emotional problems.
Within the first 20 minutes, I was scared, I was laughing, I was in tears, I was genuinely shocked, and it has that sort of impact. And the whole game, it kind of never stops. You never feel safe as the game progresses. I mean, you can...
I mean, you know, I think there was a few parts where I had to go, James, can you do it?
Yeah. And the thing is, the game, it is scary because obviously zombies and all that, but it's more about the tension. It's more because the whole premise of the game is you have to survive, so you have to gather stuff together to survive. You've got various recipes that you can find and unlock, and you need to gather supplies for them. You get things like scissors and blades and duct tape and alcohol and rags, and you can combine them to do various things. And no matter how much you get, there is never enough.
That's kind of the point of survival.
Yeah. To the point where you're there in a situation, you're thinking, okay, if I do this wrong, I could die. I could go around killing them, but I don't have enough supplies to kill them. Yeah. It's like bullets, again, very limited. I had 20 bullets, and I thought, yeah, this is really good. And I got in one gunfight and went down to 4. And I'm like, okay, not good. But it's so much stuff. It's really hard, because it does feel, you do get really pulled into it, and you do feel really like you're there. It's kind of, it's like watching a film or a TV series. It's that sort of production, and it kind of keeps going, and technically it is beautiful. It's probably the most amazing game I've ever seen on the PlayStation. It's absolutely gorgeous. All the animation and the visuals and the clarity and depth of field and mood and aesthetic, and it's all great, and the voice acting is phenomenal. They've got proper actors in doing it. You feel emotionally attached to the characters. The sound design, from the little moans and clicks and everything of the infected to just kind of like the atmosphere of when you're in dilapidated buildings and out in wild areas, then yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add to that? I mean, that pretty much summed
I think you covered everything,
pretty much,
every little thing to it.
Pretty much covered everything.
That's
like
cool. I do want to get I do want to get hands on it. It does look pretty cool.
Just don't
if I had a PS,
it's been well documented in the past. I don't like scary games.
Yeah.
This isn't just a scary game. There are scary parts to it.
I think that was the thing though that kind of shocked me, is that most of the parts that I was playing, that I was pretty scared, and you were the ones to kind of go, yeah, give it I'll take over.
Yeah, it's because the game is good enough to warrant
I think that's why you play
that.
things like Fallout as well, because there's certain moments in Fallout that probably would have freaked you out.
There are moments in Fallout where I said, fuck this shit, just threw the controller down and switched it off.
Well, there you go then. Awesome.
That did happen once with this, but I did go back to it after 10 minutes of a little calm down, a little cry in the corner.
It's incredible. I wish we had footage of that right now. We do.
You have to imagine it.
So if you have a PS3, the basic bottom line of what you're trying to say is you should own this game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point of having a PS3?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Look forward to actually having a go at it at some point.
Definitely.
Might have to
definitely.
mention it again on the show. Give our thoughts about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome beans. All right then. Let's move on to some movies. Movie news. Something that I think we can all agree is pretty awesome is that Robert Downey Jr. signed on to do Avengers 2 and 3.
Yeah, he's the only confirmed cast member for Avengers 3.
That's all we need. That's all we need.
That's
all we need.
No, but in all seriousness, no, it's good. It's good because obviously there's some doubt. He was only really signed up to do 3 Iron Mans and then kind of the Avengers, and that was kind of it was a negotiation thing. And he obviously the highest paid out of everybody in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and he's been arguing with the other cast, or not with the other, but on behalf of the other cast to get them paid more to guarantee they're all in it. Hopefully this is a good sign that might be happening.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I mean
there's been some rumours that certain cast members might not be returning in certain roles and where those roles will be, but this news...
Is it been confirmed there's no Loki for Avengers 2 as well?
Yeah.
I read that, do you know what I mean?
It doesn't mean he won't turn up in other
films
along the way, but he's not going to be in it as far as I know. But he's going to be in Thor 2, so that's something.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey Jr., to me, I think for a lot of people, he now is Iron Man. He's
I think he thinks he's Iron Man as well.
Yeah, which is probably one of the reasons scary. It's why I think he wanted to call it a day, because he said it's not good for my ego.
Yeah.
That's quite an image of him going out on the town one night in his Iron Man suit.
He probably would.
Yeah, I mean, you all you have to do is just kind of browse the internet and there's an Iron Man meme in there somewhere about it. But no, really good news. I'm really happy about it. Yeah. There doesn't need to be any more Iron Man films.
No, I'd be happy just to have him in Avengers. That would be really cool, yeah.
So,
I couldn't see where they would take it if they did any more Iron Man.
No.
It would get too drawn out, and it's cool to have him there as part of the Avengers, and have them all kicking ass and shit. But on his own, we've kind of done that. And
a lot of people are saying though that with the rest of the Marvel movie universe, kind of for sequels for the characters that were in the first Avengers, they've now got this huge shadow of the Avengers over them, and how's that going to continue? Yeah. Are they now going to have to kind of draw those back and just bring them in just solely for the Avengers franchise and bring in other characters in their own movies to come in? But
we'll have to see. Yeah. So there's been a few trailers released this last week or so. I know we talked a little while back, a couple episodes ago, about the second teaser for Anchorman 2. There is now a full trailer with actual footage from the movie, and it is fucking hilarious. We'll play a tiny bit of that now. Head over to our Facebook page if you want to see the whole thing, or go on YouTube. I'm sure you can find it fairly easily. But what do you think? What do you think? So from the 2 and a bit minute.
From the 2 and a bit minute, you can kind of see where the film is going, and I like it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
They're back, baby. Yeah. It's pretty much it. You saw them. It's kind of the teaser we saw before, it's kind of like the characters introducing themselves not as part of the film. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, they've got the characters down, but you need to actually see them doing the film. And again, I think sort of Steve Carell stole that trailer for me.
Yeah,
with just some of his brickisms.
Yeah.
And genius. So looking forward to this film.
Set in the 80s.
Yeah.
As well, so it's like a big kind of like shift in time. That's pretty cool. Anyway, something you're more bothered about, I couldn't really care, is the Lego movie.
Yes. Now, everybody's saying...
I'm surprised it's on the show notes we're on.
No.
Well, I'm not, but...
Everybody's sort of saying, oh yeah, it's a Lego movie. Okay, they've done Lego movies. They've done Lego movies of like Star Wars
and the Batman,
Batman one's coming out soon, and all of that. It's the same director who did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, so it's a proper thing. It's got Morgan Freeman, Will Ferrell, Will Arnett, Chris Pratt is starring in it, and it's
Lego.
Yeah, but it's not CG Lego. This is stop motion Lego.
It's still Lego.
Yeah, I find it pretty difficult to get enthusiastic about it.
Have you seen the trailer?
I'll watch the trailer, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be that excited about it.
Well, I like Lego, so screw you.
Okay, fair enough.
But Sony There's literally is like every Lego franchise that's ever come out or ever been, including there's like a real sort of like a throwaway thing about the 80s astronauts and stuff. I remember those, so it's a nostalgia thing. It's not just all that.
Okay.
It's Lego. That's all I can say.
Right, this actually hitting cinemas and okay.
Wow.
This is a proper full-blown film.
Can I just say you'd probably be the only adult in the cinema?
Probably.
I don't care. I could be the only person in the cinema.
I just you turn around to a bunch of kids going shh and watching the film.
Right. Crazy. Okay. So from that, we will move on to a review of Man of Steel. Something else I haven't experienced. You want to talk again?
Yeah. Okay.
So you went to see Man of Steel. Well, you guys went to see Man of Steel.
Yeah, we went to see it.
Yeah. And I didn't.
I'll let Michelle start it.
I've already said that I
wasn't
majorly fussed about it.
See, I think you were more amazed by it than I was.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't like it. I think there was so much hype behind it that I think after I watched it and you asked me, what do you think? I was like, it wasn't as good as I was expecting, and I think that was mainly because of all the hype behind it. And I think, if I gave it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8.
Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype either, yeah.
Well, still, 8 out of 10 isn't bad.
It's not bad, no.
Yeah, it's the higher end of things.
No.
Go on and give the spiel.
For me, it's quite controversial. I mean, I was going to love this film no matter what.
Yeah.
Being a Superman
Try and give
the Superman shirt.
Yeah. I wore the Man of Steel shirt to the cinema to watch it and all that. And you know what? It's not a perfect movie. I, as a fan, liked it. I liked some of the things they've done, but some of the things I liked about it, a lot of the die-hard comic book fans didn't enjoy about it. I mean, now it's come out, there's been all sorts of spoilers about the ending and all that. Try not to go into that too much, but it's been documented that Christopher Nolan didn't like...
Yeah, I read about it. I didn't read what the ending was, though.
He didn't want the ending to be, and Zack Snyder really had to kind of sell it to him, and he did it. And in some ways, a lot of people are saying, because it kind of goes about one of the fundamental pillars of what Superman is, but in some ways it kind of addresses that and deals with it and gives you a reason for why that is, which is never really explained, because Superman in the comics, he's getting on now, he's 75 years old, and his character really hasn't... His character really hasn't changed that much. He's always been dubbed the Boy Scout. He's the typical Mr. Nice Guy, going out of his way, charming quips and all this, and they've really kind of grounded it in reality. He's not happy-go-lucky, he's quite sombre and solemn and dealing with that thing. I like what they did, and feel free to disagree with me. It wasn't the typical superhero. Yeah, he could do all these amazing things, but nobody really regarded him as a hero. It was an alien invasion film. Yeah. That's what it is, and that's what it felt like, and that's one of the things I think they did really well. Yeah. The characters in it were great. There were some brilliant performances. I wasn't expecting Russell Crowe to be quite as good as he was.
That's shocking.
No. Kevin Costner, never been a huge fan of his
Me
work
either.
Before, but he performed a role. He did the role. He really
said
well.
the lines.
Yeah. he said the lines, and he did the typical Park Kent things, and some of the flashbacks in them are quite touching.
Yeah.
And all that, and as an origin story, I think it does really well. And I think what it mostly does is it opens the door for a really good sequel. So we could get.
I'm sure there will be.
I mean, it's been raking money in, so there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And there are so many hints because they're leading up now to a Justice League movie, which will be Henry Cavill as Superman and an all new Batman and everything. And there's so many little sort of nods and references and Easter eggs in it. They're doing that, but I think it could potentially start off something really good.
Yeah. No. Overall, I think. There was a few. I think I like the fact that with most Superman films, I still think of the lead up from when he was a child up until that point.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what I think? I mean, obviously I haven't seen this, and this is just me giving my opinion because I'm not a massive Superman fan anyway. I think there's been so much Superman in so many different kind of forms and iterations. like TV shows. You've had your Lois and Clark in Smallville, and it all kind of is it's all kind of its own thing in a way.
Yeah.
It basically follows the idea, but kind of it all veers off in certain places, and so really, I mean, that's kind of good because it kind of gives you scope to go other places with, but it's also quite confusing, I think, to some people. Maybe.
Yeah,
because it's just because you really don't know what to expect from it, and you don't know whether what you're going to see is going to be good or, I don't know.
No, but again, I think they've done really well. It's kind of, this is the Superman of this movie universe. Yeah. Much like Robert Downey Jr. is the Iron Man of that particular universe and all that.
As a Zack Snyder film, how's it rate?
I would say definitely back on form. I mean, I know Watchmen didn't do really well, but I actually really liked the film. Yeah,
I liked it. I've still got Sucker Punch to see, but apparently it's really shitty.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's well crafted, and you can tell that the team behind it really liked what they were doing, and they did some really good things. And there's no slow mo, is there? Awesome. There's no slow mo. In fact, some things go by so quickly, you're kind of thinking, what?
Yeah.
And it can be quite gruesome at sometimes, but it's gone so quickly that you just don't notice it. I'm surprised he got away with some of the stuff that he did.
Cool. I might be a little bit more excited to see this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Done my job then.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Well, we'll take a quick break. We're going to be back with some TV goodness. Okay. So for TV news, we're talking about DreamWorks partnering up with Netflix, DreamWorks Animation, to create a original animated series.
Yeah. It's about 4 or 5 of them, I think. One series in particular, there's an upcoming film called Rush, which is about racing snails. And they're doing a TV series.
It's called Turbo.
Turbo.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Rush. That's Rush is the new Ron Howard film, I think.
Oh, okay. Turbo. So yeah, completely disregard that. I don't know where that came from.
Turbo.
You know what? If I don't have the facts, I just make shit up. You should probably be aware of this.
Okay.
Turbo. Yeah. Snail.
Yeah, okay. So they're taking some DreamWorks animation properties and making them into TV series.
Which they've kind of already done on like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, but there's going
to be Madagascar penguins and stuff. Shows and weird shit like that.
They're now, I think, sort of new properties and new IPs are going to be.
Kung Fu Panda series as well.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I do like Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Going off track here.
So that's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of Netflix, we did post this on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Games Geeks Ministries.
Shameless self-promotion.
Hemlock Grove is being renewed for a 2nd season.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've aired my thoughts on this show numerous times about that. That show, and I don't know. I mean, it was so
weird,
convoluted as to what it wanted to be at any given time. It was like it had its good moments. It had, it just should have really concentrated on fewer things going on at once and doing them things well. It would have been a better show than throwing all this shit in the mix and kind of, some stuff kind of works, some stuff doesn't, and let's just go with it kind of thing. But It's been announced there's a second season. Who knows when that's going to get filmed or anything, but it's supposed to be out next year around the same time. So we should.
Will you be giving it a shot?
I don't know.
Hoping that they'll listen to criticism and maybe fix some of the issues.
I don't know that. I think it might just be me. I think there's a lot of people that actually really liked it. So
well, I would imagine some people liked it.
Well, no, they know they obviously Netflix haven't released the figures, but I think Eli Roth, who makes the show, was one of the executive producers of the show. Basically, that statement saying that it's done well, and obviously well enough to do a second season. So as for where it goes, I mean, it kind of has this end moment where you're just like, okay, this is what this show is. Okay, fine. I'm not into it, So
okay.
I don't know. I'll wait for a trailer. Then I'll kind of think, okay.
And you maybe
watch
the first episode.
Okay, maybe I'll watch it. Yeah,
and then you'll end up watching the whole thing.
And then I'll bitch about it.
Yeah.
Right here. So enjoy that.
Watch this space.
About a year's time. Anyways, let's talk about something we have enjoyed.
All of us can chime in this time.
It's a little, crazy. It's been a little bit late, kind of. Obviously, by the time this goes out, it's been weeks since the show ended. But Game of Thrones season 3 ended 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and we kind of gave our thoughts on the penultimate episode, which was just like, I think we want to talk about the show overall this season. Yeah. I feel like a lot of shit happened last season, like season 2, that was good, but I don't think it had as many standout moments as this season has. The third season definitely had more stuff in it that kind of was big stuff. It was big stuff, Yeah. I obviously don't want to spoil too much for people who haven't seen it. Can't really talk too much about some of it, but it definitely has a sense of... You kind of get more of a sense of where it's going now.
Yeah.
You definitely have...
Well, I think people had a sense of where it was going, and then certain events happened, and now they kind of don't know what the hell is happening.
True, I just felt like when watching season 2, it just kind of felt like you had no idea.
Yeah.
Kind of, and you do for most of it, because that's kind of the beauty of the show too, but at the end of the day, it kind of felt, you kind of know that shit's kicking off here, and it's slightly sort of, it kind of, I think it actually, while it started off dealing with a lot more personal story arcs, it kind of filtered out towards the end and dealt with fewer, which made it easier to follow and know where everybody was at any one given time, and kind of the events and things that were going on. And I think they did a lot more, like, concentrating on certain characters for a greater length of the shows as well.
Yeah,
which was good.
There were some characters in the second season we really didn't see much of.
Yeah.
I mean, pick one out around Jon Snow. In the second season, he didn't do a lot. He went north of the wall.
But he does. There's a lot more.
Yeah,
of him
he does a lot more in this one.
Yeah.
He pranced about in the snow for a bit in season 2, and had a conflict, and then that was it. But this one, he's gone through a whole big story.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's well, not everybody, but the main kind of, and it's kind of cool because like it's you could almost split it into two halves, because you've got like towards the beginning with Jaime Lannister and all that. There's kind of like his whole thing, and that kind of fizzles out for like the second half of the season, which makes way for other characters. Whereas in season 2 and the previous season, they've kind of had all this kind of you get to see a little bit of everybody, but it gets so kind of like, so this person's doing what now, and it kind of tries to do too much at once. And then I think this season they've kind of refined it to where this story is going to be told over these episodes, and then we'll move on to such and such, and it's kind of, it feels more planned out. It feels more like it works for me personally as a viewer.
I would say, as a fan of the books, I would say probably the third book is probably one of the best, sort of narratively. It's also one of the biggest. That's why they've split it into two. It was split into
which makes sense.
Yeah, and like I said, this whole season 3 is only the first half of the third book, so they've split it up there. They've kind of focused on one side of it, and some characters I think have been decidedly absent or just dotted through, and something like you were talking about Jaime Lannister. He kind of has a scene in the finale that doesn't feel very fleshed out. You feel like there'd be more in that, and a lot of reviewers have said that kind of there's no real conclusion there. That's because all that conclusion, everything that then happens in the next season. So,
but he has his story. There is kind of not so much an end to it, but it kind of ends in a place where it's like, you know, where it can start off next season, and it kind of makes sense to end it there for this season.
I think the surprising thing about Jaime Lannister in particular is he's now gone. Is a lot of the characters, they start off as one thing and then you see them evolving into something else. He's now started off as someone really hateful.
Yeah,
really
now you kind of feel sorry for him, and you kind of think, shit, he's not actually a bad guy. He had that whole story like partway through. He told his side of it, and it was like, this is the reason why he did this and why he's known for this. But these are his motives behind it, and it was actually good intentions and stuff. Yeah.
And the exact same thing happens in the book, and for that I think they've kept. I mean, I've said this to you. A lot of TV series that are based on books now, they kind of diverge and become their own thing. Whereas Game of Thrones, although it takes and it kind of condenses certain things from the book and characters and all that and certain plot points, for the overall beats of specific events that happen, they stay fairly consistently true to the book.
I think that's good with, you know, obviously having the writer involved with it. And I think, you know, making the changes, they're always going to actually, you know, talk to him and see what they want to change and how it could work. And
it's basic respect for the source material, isn't it? It's they obviously love the books. The people who make the show, they want to be true to them. But obviously, there's certain things that work better in literacy than on TV. You can't do a complete conversion of things. Like you say, you'd have seasons that are like billions of hours long or whatever.
You'd have a 25 episode season covering the same amount of stuff with all the extra stuff.
So I mean, you cut half of it down. You still end up with something coherent and that works. But so I think it's a show that's just getting better and better and better, and it just goes to show you never know what the fuck's going to happen. Well, I mean, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. I mean, you've read the book, so it's...
I think that's the thing.
You've got an idea, but I still feel like maybe you don't quite know 100%.
Yeah, there have been memes around about certain things that people kind of like, okay, you get to like the character and he dies, and I think that's kind of... Anybody who's seen the first season can kind of understand, okay, so that's that meme then. No, that meme is consistent throughout the whole series.
This is the thing, though, you know, compared to, you know, we haven't read the books, you have.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll know when something happens because we'll just look over at you and be smiling.
Yeah, you have that kind of Cheshire cat look.
Yes, because I'll just look over at you.
It's a cool show. It's definitely gotten darker and more kind of twisted as it goes, but it's still really entertaining to watch, and it's still, you know, it still hooks you.
It has a weird structure for most TV shows because most episodes have their kind of own sort of self-contained story, and this really doesn't have that. This has kind of steps, and it's almost chapters leading on. There's no real sort of start and there's no conclusion at the end of each episode. It all kind of builds up into something. And then it peaks in the penultimate episode.
And then it's just the aftermath.
And the aftermath and the last
leading
episode.
into what's going to happen next season.
Which I think is good, because you could have the big sort of cliffhanger and everything at the end and be like really excited, and then it would have to then go sort of back into...
It's good because a lot of shows do just end with that, the season finale cliffhanger, and then it's like everyone's like says, I want to know what happens next. Well, you get that with this show.
Yeah.
But it always leaves you at a place where it's like, you still don't know what's going to happen. It's still cliffhangers of sorts. Just not these big sort of epic moments. They happen slightly earlier. Which is kind of
all cool. TV shows, and I can mention like True Blood as one, they tend to sort of peak at the premieres and the finales.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it happens. It kind of peaks and then it kind of fizzles out and then does that.
Actually funny you mentioned True Blood, because that started up again now that Game of Thrones is finished on the Hobo channel at HBO.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you want to say about Game of Thrones? So I might just say a little bit about True Blood quickly.
We'll talk about True Blood.
Okay. Well, you guys
watch Game of Thrones. It's awesome.
Yeah. True Blood started up again. I'm one of these people who enjoy the show, but have been with each season been less and less fussed with it.
Yeah.
It kind of ended season 5 with one of those holy shit moments.
I would say season 5 was...
It was better than the 4th season, so it did definitely improve over the previous season. I've watched the first episode of the new season, and it's pretty much what you come to expect from True Blood. It's good. It's good. It's not
just good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It definitely has some twists and turns which you weren't quite expecting. But yeah, more on that. We'll just sort of.
Yeah, because
it's one of those shows
we've obviously yet to see it, but we'll have watched a couple of episodes by
Yeah. Well, then maybe we'll leave it there and just kind of address it when the season's finished, and
Okay.
then or maybe you can just kind of chime in a little bit or something next time. But anyway, so that's it for TV. We're gonna talk about tech. Okay, so for tech, we've actually got some stuff to talk about. A week or so back, 2 weeks now, and by the time this goes out, Worldwide Developers Conference was on. It was on at the same time as E3, so we didn't really have the chance to cover it. So we figured we'll talk about E3 first, because it kind of covers video games and stuff, and we'll kind of leave it for a later episode to sort of when there's not so much stuff going on to talk about Worldwide Developers Conference, which is basically Apple's big show where they lots of there's lots of good stuff on the show floor, like third-party developers with apps and devices that plug into your phone and your iPad and all that kind of crazy shit. But the big news really is what Apple kind of announced at their keynote, and the two main things, other than the new operating system, which is now called OS X Mavericks, has a lot of really cool features they showed. We haven't really got the time to go over that. But the two main things were iOS 7 and the new Mac Pro, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. I'm going to start with the Mac Pro. Basically, the Mac Pro is one of those computers that is literally as it sounds. It's for the professional. It's for the person who likes to do video editing, who likes to it's good for photography. It's for me. Yeah. It handles. It's a big, powerful machine, and they've always had this very kind of tower-esque looking thing. It looks very much. It's a PC that kind of has the Apple sort of look about it. They've completely redesigned it, and although it's not actually announced when it's coming out, it's going to come out later this year. Probably announced that around September time. It's basically, they've redesigned the whole thing. They've made it 1/8 the size. It's basically this big black cylinder.
Like mini-me.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And all I'm going to say is it's fucking cool. I want one. It's going to be a lot of money, but it's a powerful, powerful machine. And I know there's a lot of people who aren't Mac fans or Apple fanboys. Unfortunately, I am an Apple fanboy. But at the end of the day, if this is my dream computer, you can connect 3 4K displays to this motherfucker, right? So it's powerful, and it's pretty much everything you want for editing video. So I might get one of these. When I get one of these to edit the shows on, it would make my life
Get the Xbox One.
so much easier and quicker. Anyway, aside from that, iOS 7, the new operating system for iPhone and iPad, was unveiled. We're all iPhone users.
Yes.
I'd like to get your opinions on this first before I say anything about it.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of similarities to, like, obviously I've got friends and that will say, yeah, they're just copying Android, basically.
Do you know what? I'm going to say the exact not the exact opposite. I'm going to say that it's not so much Android, it's more Windows Phone.
Okay.
That's what obviously without all the blocks and stuff. But like the kind of they've given it this whole new look. Like I think one of the things that people get on Apple's arse over every time a new phone or whatever is released is the operating system is pretty much the same. They add tweaks and features and try and stop people from jailbreaking and stuff like that with every update. But it's kind of the same since day one. It kind of hasn't changed that much.
No.
They've reinvented it pretty much entirely, and it just has this whole new look. It's nice and clean. It has this it just all kind of is really appealing to the eye. It looks to me a lot more like Windows Phone, Windows Mobile to me, without obviously the big blocks of stuff. Probably has a little influence from Android in there, a little bit, but it still kind of operates the way you come to know iOS. It is and it isn't. It's more of an aesthetic thing. What I thought was really cool, and it's only a little thing, but I think it's something that I'll probably use a lot when they have this whole thing where because they can tell the orientation of the phone, like your wallpaper behind your icons, it's kind of almost like this 3D layered thing now. So when you move it, you can see behind the icons. So imagine that's your wallpaper and these are your icons. It kind of moves like that. When you move the phone, it's really quite trippy. We'll put the video up, but that's just one of those minute little features, the tiny little touch that kind of isn't important, but it's nice. It's nice that it does that. Also, there's this kind of, you've got the notification center when you pull that.
Yeah.
There's a whole new menu system when you pull up now,
Yeah.
where you can access things like the flashlight, and it's quick access to the certain features that you'd have to hunt through the freaking settings or whatever to figure out whatever. So
Can I still call people?
it's still, you can call people, you can text people, it just looks nicer. It's kind of, the keyboard's kind of slightly transparent, so if there's stuff behind it you can kind of see where that is without it getting, without it being too intrusive. It's really nice. I mean, it's a major update for it. I think it's kind of like, literally they said in the video, it's like literally having a brand new phone. Because the operating system, it's like, that is kind of the phone. That's what you use every day. It's the user interface and everything.
Yeah.
They've changed it all, and it's it's nice. It looks good. All the icons kind of match now.
Yeah,
they all have the same feel to them. Because when you look on your phone, a lot of them, some of them are shiny, some of them aren't. Some of them kind of outlined nicely. Some of them are. They all look like they've been designed by different people. You probably don't notice it, but look at it the next time you get your phone.
Okay.
They've unified them more, and it's nice. It's nice, clean kind of.
James is just thinking it's a phone.
It is though. As
long as I can still go on Facebook.
Yeah. At the end of the day though, it's when you update it, which will probably be kind of September, October time later in the year. It's a big update. It's like it changes the phone. It's like literally getting a brand new phone, which I think is fucking cool.
Awesome.
But I'm going to pay for anything.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, if you're a developer, I mean, obviously you probably know about this. If you're a developer, you can download the beta version for free and install that. Apparently, it's a bit buggy and glitchy, so I wouldn't really recommend it. But it looks nice. People are going to say, "Oh, you copied this, you copied that," and that's maybe there's some influences there. But I think for Apple to kind of progress, they have to kind of look and see what looks nice to the eye. I think they've thought scientifically more about it than kind of like Microsoft Windows when they designed their OS. It's like, that looks cool. With Apple, they've kind of literally pixel for pixel kind of worked out what's the right font size, how do we space the icon, all that kind of crazy shit that you don't really think about, but I guess they have. I like the look of it personally. I think it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole ton of features I'm forgetting at the moment because it's been a few days since I watched the video. But
if I poke you, will you remember them?
No.
Okay.
What? Okay. But anyway, so we'll I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit more once the update is released. I think it looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
I do like the aesthetic of the Windows Phone. I don't like the features. They feel very. It feels very toned down Windows Phone to me. I like the look of it and everything, but when I'm using it, I'm kind of like, what does this do?
Yeah, no.
Like you download apps, you get apps and stuff, and then you get your Facebook and you get your Internet Explorer and all that kind of shit on there. You get Xbox Live, but like, what else does it do other than that and make phone calls and text? So it doesn't I feel like I can do more with my iPhone than I can with a Windows Phone or an Android phone. That's just me, but there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna get called a fanboy. Never mind.
Happens to the best of us.
It does. Anyways, so those are my thoughts. I mean, have you even seen this yet? Any of this?
I've seen bits of it. I've seen shots and all that. To me, it's a phone.
Wow. Okay. Anyway,
It's a phone.
we'll leave it.
It's
at
nice
that.
not having much to say.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it for the first half of the show. It was pretty good.
Awesome.
Anyway, so thank you very much for tuning in. Please check out our new Facebook page and our new Twitter. You can still message us over the old Full Networks page as well. But we will be back in 2 weeks. I have no idea what we're going to be covering then, if there's going to be any reviews or anything that's coming out sort of between now and then, but
We'll see.
We'll post plenty of stuff on Facebook about what we'll be getting up to during the week. Any little news stories that we will miss out on, we're going to post them on Facebook. Even stuff that we are going to talk about, we'll still post it, I think.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to keep things up to date with, we cover quite a lot of stuff on the show, and just be kind of nice to have a place to kind of post these things so that give other people a heads up on reading about them before we talk about them, or more information about things that we've kind of glanced over or whatever, So
Funny pictures that are relevant.
stuff that's irrelevant.
Or stuff that's
Sometimes it
irrelevant.
just depends. You never know what you're going to get. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Goodbye.